Hey guys, it's Jack here from 13thSquadron, and in today's video we're going to be showing you about the DH88 Comet and the Caudron C460, which is the newest and latest designs from 13thSquadron. And the goal of the video is just to kind of show you overall how the plane is supposed to be built, some of the scale features, how it flies, electronics, and all that good stuff. I thought it'd be kind of cool to release these both at the same time because they are both racers from the 30s. And even though they didn't race each other, they're pretty cool looking still, I'd say. But we got a pylon racer and a long distance racer. So let's get started. Okay, so the first plane up on deck is the Caudron C460, which runs off of a 2205 2300 kV brushless motor on a 3-cell A50 and 4.5 gram servos and all this stuff, 20 amp ESC, otherwise known as the flight test F-Pack, and running a 6x3. And with this plane, you're going to have all the prop clearance in the world, so you can run an even smaller prop if you want to. Some of the scale features I try to incorporate were the front engine bay that was offset, very iconic if you ever look at it. The flat wings with no dihedral. You might not think of it, but some of the stuff like that really gives it its character. We also have the turtle deck up top here behind the cockpit. So the other features include a battery hatch underneath the bottom of the fuselage, which offers a whole bunch of space for your battery and a lot of movement to play with it. We also have under-camber wingtips to make it a little easier, especially playing with no dihedral. It's going to want to tip stall on you, but luckily it makes up for it with these under-camber wingtips. The other cool neat feature is there's no seams on the bottom, at least except for on the nose. It just gives it a really clean look once you're all done with it. And because all the seams are hidden, the one seam in the back tail is actually hidden underneath the turtle deck. And just kind of creates a really cool, clean look. So one of the most famous facts about the real Caudron is that it set the world speed record at 314 miles per hour in 1934, which was a pretty amazing feat for the time. And then in 1936, it came to Cleveland to win the Thompson Trophy, being the second place plane by about 25 miles per hour. Now the plane was designed with having a roughly smaller engine than all of its other competitors, but had a way more sleeker design with just for better aerodynamics and less drag, which obviously it paid out in the long run for it, giving it first place at the Thompson Trophy. So as a rough build guide, even though there's no build video, is we're going to start off with the wings. It's going to be simple and just like any other flight test wing or fold over wing. You're going to have a center line in the middle that is a little notch out, which does make it really easy to notch up in and make sure your wing is lined up straight. And from there, all you're going to do is we're going to keep the wings separate from the fuselage. You're going to start off with the middle of the fuselage, you work your way out from the middle, and you're going to roughly start off with the front of the engine first, or front of the plane first, and then from there move your way back, working with the tail section. And then once you get all the main fuselage components done, then you can work on the turtle deck, the cockpit, the front engine, like little details and stuff. That way you have a solid base to work with, and you can have those little details, which don't have to be perfect, but if you want to look perfect, you have all the power to do that. Now I was actually very surprised when we made this for the first time with no dihedral or any angle of the wings. I was expecting it to be a little squirrely and hard to control, but it just took off and was flat and true. The under-camber wingtips kind of helped stabilize that, I think, made it really kind of locked in. And it didn't want to fly slow, but it did want to cruise at about half throttle and just be kind of like a racing plane should be, where if it doesn't fly slow, it only flies kind of fast. And but I will say it's a very good first racer design if you want to get into racers, because it just flies so predictable, and like where you want to go is where it's going to go. I mean, it's kind of hard to explain that without flying it yourself, but it's just very, very predictable. And it definitely, by how simple it is and how little piece it is, it'd be a very good first racer design to start out with.
Alright guys, I thought I'd jump in here because this is my favorite plane, and I really begged Jack to make this one because he didn't want to make it at first, but I think he's pretty happy that we made it now. But okay, this is a British plane. It was made back in 1934, and there was about 3 or 4 of them that were made for this, but the Grosvenor House one was the one that won the bid for the final one. And it's made, the original one was made of all wood, and it was specifically made for the McRobertson race, which rose from England to Australia, and it took first place, no problem. So, and the other interesting fact about this was that it also was kind of the inspiration for the de Havilland Mosquito. So, it was a great plane, and I think you all can agree that this thing just looks awesome. But I'll let Jack come in here now and talk about all the specifications and motors and all that stuff, because I don't know anything about that, but he's good with that stuff. I'm not, so I'll let him come talk about that. All right?
Okay, so the DH88 runs off of two 1806 2280 kV brushless motors, running on 220 amp ESCs, and also on a 3S850, which some of the features I try to capture with this plane are just the thin wingtips, the engines themselves, the curvature of the front side view of the nose, also the top view of the fuselage going into the nose, and then also the back tail underside of the fuselage. And it's very flat on the bottom, and it actually connects to the wing, which if you notice that the actual underside piece of the wing connects to the back of the fuselage, creating this very seamless, kind of cool, because there's not many foam-board planes, at least that I know of, that have the bottom sheet connect to the back molded piece. And another thing I try to do is the actual, because of that though, what happens is you have the airfoil on the top sheet bend upward in the back of the wing. The footage should help you a little bit get an understanding of that. But it creates this really cool curve that's not very common. It kind of looks like it shouldn't be there, but it does. And see, the other major feature is the cockpit. It's pretty simple, but if you get it wrong, then it just looks wrong. But I think I captured it pretty well on this one. And then the other thing featured for the engine is they both are actually equal on the same side, because they're just the same engine on their engine's offset technically on the real one. So you have two different engines on each side, but they're the same. So now the cool thing about this plane is that it's a part of the swappable series, or at least for the swappable twins. And you'll see when we take the nose off, there's a little opening underneath the bottom of the wings, which also connects to the wires for your engines. And actually, the front of the engine cowlings can come off completely, which gives you access to all your motor wires, power pod, and access to taking all your motor out and all that kind of stuff. Now, the way you do it is you first start off by taking your propeller off, and then take out the barbecue skewers on the side of the cowling, and then slide your whole engine out, and then from there disconnect your wires or just service them. Take out your power pod, so on, ESC wires, and then you all have a swappable twin engine plane. Now this plane is meant to fly very, very fast and in a straight line and flat and true, which kind of, just like the real thing, that's exactly how you should fly this one. Now the wingtips, there's no undercamber wingtips, so it does have a bit of a stall issue, just like the DC-3, because it kind of has the same general wing shape, where it's very thick in the middle and kind of tapers out very thin, which fortunately doesn't allow for slow speed. So all you gotta do is just kind of fly at about half throttle or more all the time. And whenever you bank into a turn, slowly throttle up just a little bit, just to make sure you have airflow going over the more of the wings, getting some of that prop wash lift. And if you do that, you should have some good flying. So that was just a quick overview of each of the planes. Just remember, one last tip is just to make sure fly them fast, because they are racing planes. They don't want to fly slow. But I will say, if you're looking for a good beginner first one, definitely start out with a Caudron. But you have free plans at 13thSquadron.com along with build photos. And if you have any questions, go to our Facebook group or just directly on 13thSquadron.com. And if you feel free, like and subscribe, helps us out. Links will be in the description for plans and all that kind of stuff. And hope you guys enjoy the builds. Can't wait to see it if you do them.
Scale speed.
So how's it feel?
Like amazing.
So it's stable?
Like super, like you really launched it and it's almost hands off. CG is perfect. It's got power. Not too much roll, but it does some shit.
That made the roll.
Exactly. That was about full throttle.
Can you get lower this fast pace?
Yeah, I just don't like the wind. So
It shows the speed.